Welcome to this edition of the Laurel FireWatch. I'm your co-host, Richard Blankenship. I'm here today with my co-host, Dan Sheffield, as well. And we have some special guests with us today. We're going to talk today about membership, types of membership. And we have two special people here today. One is Dan Greenstein. Dan is the membership chairperson for the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. And then we have Maya McConnell, who's a special guest that come with us today. Maya was a former member here. We want to ask her some questions. One thing about Maya is that when I was chief, I appointed her the first time as a sergeant, and Maya did an outstanding job for me when she was there. She was also membership chairman in the department. Recently, within the last year, Maya got promoted to battalion chief in the Baltimore City Fire Department. And it's good for this organization, makes us all proud here that she was the first female battalion chief in the history of Baltimore City Fire Department to be involved in operations of the department. And we're glad to have her here today and talk to her a little bit about how she got started. Dan, we're going to start off with you. I know my co-host over there has got some questions he wants to ask you about membership. We know membership is important. We got to have people here to get the apparatus out and get certain things done. And I know we have a bunch of different types of membership. And Dan's going to ask some questions about that.
Thanks, Kat. Dan, you're a life member here at the fire department. Can you share with me your incentive to being involved with the Laurel Fire Department?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. I don't know if you all remember me out in TV land, but I was the co-host of the show about when it first started. I've always been interested in the fire service, and back in 1988, I joined the rescue squad. But then I realized I wanted to ride an engine. I also liked the ambulance, so I made an arrangement with the chief at the time. I could go to another station, ride the ambulance, and join here to ride an engine.
Very good. How has being a member of the Laurel Fire Department impacted your life? What does it mean to you?
Well, I made a lot of friends. Back when I was a little bit younger, I made sure I was here every day, even if I moved to Baltimore, put a lot of miles on my car. It was something I want to do. It's a social event, but it's all social support system, but it's also serving the community.
Thanks, Dan. You've achieved your life membership here at the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means that if I want to, all I have to do is come here and drink coffee and can still enjoy all the benefits. But seriously, I enjoy coming here and want to contribute. So obviously, even though I don't have to do anything more, and basically I just come here, watch TV, and drink coffee, I can still continue to participate and do as much as I can. Even though when you get older, it's a little harder to do stuff because people don't realize it. If you're into extreme sports, firefighting is close to being an extreme sport. Except the difference between sports and firefighting is, in firefighting, you don't have a chance to warm up. You just have to be ready to go immediately.
Dan is jest when he says he just comes up here and drinks coffee. He's actually one of the most valued members that we have on Saturday night, often performing primary patient care duties with our duty crew and assisting greatly with our training efforts. Thanks, Dan. One of the committees that you're involved with is our membership recruiting. What do you think attracts people to want to join us here at the Laurel Fire Department?
Well, a lot of people want to join because they want to serve the community. Other people, I'm not quite sure why they want to join. They get here, the way we do it is we have them come down and we explain what's involved in being a volunteer. That scares off maybe half the people because there is a very, very big time commitment, at least on the front end. Once you become a member, you have to take volunteer recruit school, which is 32 hours. Then you have to take, within the first 2.5 years, you have to take EMT, which is probably around 200 hours, and Firefighter 1, which is 108 hours, in addition to doing duty crews, doing standbys, coming to meetings, and running calls. So once people hear all that, the people that are really committed, that want to serve the community, and possibly some people want to see what it's like being a firefighter because they may decide to want to do it full time. I mean, what other job can you try it out first, then see if you like it? And a lot of people do like it and continue even though they're working as a career firefighter someplace, they're still members here because, I mean, they like it. So, I mean, what other job do you do it for free and then go someplace to get paid, then come back and do it for free again?
Thanks, Dan. Can you tell us about the different membership categories we have?
Sure, Dan. First of all, the main category is a regular member. When people come in, they're on probation. That's a probationary member. They're on probation for 12 months or until they get their EMT, whatever comes later. Regular members are the backbone of the department. A lot of people don't realize at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, the career people walk out the door, and it's all volunteers. It's all people just like you and me between 3 p.m. and 7 a.m. the next morning. And if it's a holiday or a weekend, the career people don't come back till 7 o'clock the next workday. So we have regular, probationary, regular members. Once they get off probation, they're a regular member. Then we have administrative members. These are people that perform very important duties behind the scenes. A lot of people on the membership committee are administrative members. They also would serve like as the secretary or the treasurer. Those people can be riding members, but that's one aspect that they can help out where they don't have to ride fire trucks. In terms of administrative members, we found that they were kind of getting lost in the shuffle a little bit. So when they got voted in, if they weren't given a specific task to do, so what we've started doing is having administrative members also do duty crews, which is an assigned shift 7 days a week from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Even though they're 7 days a week, you only have to do one a week. But the administrative members come here and are part of that duty crew and help out, and they feel more like they're more part of the team, and it also helps them get their LOSAP points, LOSAP Length of Service Award Program. That's when you get you have to get 50 points a year, but if you do 25 points for 50 years and you're 55 years old, you get a small pension. We also have life members, which I am. If you've been here for 25 years, become a life member, and then we have honorary members and honorary life members. I think we got it all, didn't we, Dan?
I think we sure did. And in addition to that, if you live inside the city of Laurel and you provide service to public safety services in the city of Laurel, you also may be eligible for a tax discount as well in your property taxes. Dan, if someone's interested in joining our volunteer fire department up here in Laurel, what should they do?
Well, first of all, getting back to the tax benefits, everybody, no matter where you live, is eligible after 3 years of accredited service for a state tax deduction, which I believe it's between $4,500, $4,500. I'm not sure the exact amount, but when you file your state income tax returns, that saves you about $400. If you're interested in joining, go to www.laurelvfd.org and click the membership tab. I believe it says Suit Up, but just click that, fill out the information, and we'll get back to you and invite you to one of our monthly orientations. Generally, the second Sunday of the month at 7 p.m., but that switches around, so we definitely want you to go to the website to sign up. That way we also have a record of you in our computer system.
Dan, it certainly is an honor having you here with us today. And thank you so much for being involved with us in the cable show and for helping get the message out to the community. And thanks so much for your services to our community.
Thank you. As if you remember this segment we used to do, if I can do it, you can do it, so can you. Be part of the team.
Thank you.
Well, Dan, thank you for all that information. That was Dan saying all the time when we would do a cable show, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's a true statement. And one of the reasons why I asked Maya to come in today is because Maya came up through the ranks as a volunteer, and then she got real interested in the volunteer fire department, and she got interested in the fire department seriously, and she became a career firefighter with the Baltimore City Fire Department. I can remember when Maya got the job, she also applied for Howard County, where I worked for a number of years, and I tried to talk her into coming to Howard County, but she was honest with the Baltimore City, said no, they offered her the job first, and she thought it was unfair to go there, and she made the right choice, and today she's, like I said, she's a battalion chief in a big city fire department. And a lot of the guys and women can only dream about doing that, and she's living the dream. And like I said, Maya came here When I joined the fire department, I grew up in the fire department as a kid. My father was a member here at Laurel for back in the early 50s, and then he moved to Savage and became chief over there. And I grew up in Savage, and like I said, I spent a lot of time at the firehouse. There's an engine somewhere around that I rode it when I was like 7 years old from the firehouse to home. And it probably still got the hand grips on the back. I remember where I squeezed it and I wouldn't fall off. But it was a good feeling. I joined the fire service because my dad was in the fire service. My older brother was in the fire service. And that was just one of the things I wanted to do. But to be honest, the first thing when I was in junior high school, I always wanted to be a truck driver. You know, I thought that was cool too. You get to go places and see things. And then once I joined the fire department, I couldn't wait till I was 16 to join. And when I did, that just totally changed my whole perspective of what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to be a fireman. So that's what I did. I ended up working in the career service for 35 years. I retired as a battalion chief. I got 48 years here as a volunteer at Laurel. I set 2 goals for myself when I joined this department as far as membership. I want to be a life member, and I want to be chief, and I serve both of those. And I'm still active today. I don't ride the apparatus anymore. Like Dan said earlier, it's like going from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. You know, when that bell goes off, it's like opening up the door and let the horse out, because that's the way you got to go. You got to roll, because people depend on us to be able to get out and take care of their problems. But like I said, I got to say, like Dan's saying, if we can do it, you can do it. And we would love to have you come in and join this department. It's a great organization. And again, like I said, I asked Maya to come here. Her whole family's in it as well. I had the opportunity when I was chief to work with her dad. Her dad was the president of the department. He's now vice president of the department. So her mom is big in the ladies auxiliary. So she was in there with the family as well. So I'm happy to say, Maya, thanks for coming to the show. If you can just give us a little history about yourself of how you got started here at Laurel, where you came up through the ranks, and then now you're a mama too and have little girls and all that stuff, and they're going to be involved in the fire department too if you and Adam got anything to do with it. And again, some of the marriages here were met at this place. She met her husband here, as well as a few other of our members the same way. My wife I met in the fire department because her family, whole family was in the fire department, from her grandfather down to her father and uncles and everything else. And she was a firehouse baby as well as I was, and that's how we got together. And that's why we're still together today after 44 years. So, Maya, thanks for coming. I appreciate you showing up.
Thanks for having me. It means a lot. It's great to come back. Always familiar faces when I come back, and always a smile, so that's really nice. So I started because of something my dad told me when I was in college. My parents were both involved in the fire department. My dad volunteered as a regular member, which means he rode the fire engine, and my mom volunteered in the ladies auxiliary. So she was always cooking and taking care of things to do some fundraising for the regular members so that they could get the things that they need, like apparatus and all that. And that's usually the side that I would see is the stuff that my mom did. So I would help her in the kitchen, and I did almost all of my community service hours when I was in middle school through the ladies auxiliary and helping with that. And it wasn't until I was starting college when my dad said, did you ever think about joining as a regular member? Not necessarily the ladies auxiliary part, but actually riding the apparatus. And I'd never thought of it until he'd mentioned it to me. And I was in college. I had just started, and I had to work through college, so I didn't have time to do extracurricular activities like I wanted to on a set schedule. I could do things on my own schedule. And that's why it was so nice to be here, because yeah, you have one night a week. It's only 4 hours. It's only one night a week. But you can come and go a whole lot of other times. And if there's a training you can make, you go to it. But if you can't, it's okay. So you do your one night a week, but there's other stuff you can do. I would sit at the kitchen table and do my college homework all the time. There was a computer here that I didn't have the money for, so I used the computers at school, or I used the computer here. So that was really convenient, and that experience introduced me to the fire department and introduced me to a ton of people that were so encouraging and said, you know, you could do this for a career. You're strong enough, you're smart enough, you could do this for a living. And if it weren't for having gone through it here, I would have never thought of it. And now that I got a chance to do that, the rest is history, as they say. But it was really just a turning point for me as a person to volunteer here, and that directed the rest of my professional career.
Very good, Maya. Have you thought about how many people you have impacted by your services to the community, both here in Laurel Volunteer Fire Department and also with your career job?
Not really. I imagine it's a lot. I imagine that the number is a lot, but there's certainly quality aspects of the impact too. So there's little things that you don't realize make a difference. Like there's the high acuity, the very injured people, that kind of stuff kind of stands out, and there are those, But then there's also the little stuff that you do. I did the membership committee here, and that impacted people. There were people that said, "Oh, you did my interview," and I say, "I don't remember doing that." And I had the chance to work at the fire academy in the city, and there's people that say, "Oh, I remember you taught my class such and such," and I don't really remember you, but you impact people all the time and you don't even realize it. We also did things like fire prevention. I did Dottie, the fire safety dog. Spoiler alert, there's somebody is Dottie, but I did that, and there's people that don't even realize that it was me some of those times. I just walked through the hall upstairs, and there's a picture up there, and I said, "That's me in that suit," in that picture, because it was in 2002. So there's stuff like that, too, and, kids see that, and maybe they get a message about fire safety that day, and it impacts them later in their life, and they don't really even know that it's you. So it's not just the typical stuff where you think, like, okay, you are going to see people on their very worst day ever, and they're going to be so excited to see you, and you are going to do awesome things to help them. But there's other things, the little stuff, the fire prevention stuff that you don't even realize that makes a big difference too.
Thanks so much, Maya. And Maya shares a personality trait that many of the volunteers have. They get involved, they get the training, they become more involved with the fire department and interact with the community, and don't really think to themselves how many people they impact, which is part of the miracle of providing a volunteer service. To you, you think, well, all right, I did it because I do it and I enjoy doing it and it makes me feel good. But to the people that you're serving, it really makes a life difference to them, especially when you're providing medical service or helping save their property, their home. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your day with us today.
Again, Maya, I thank you for coming out today. I know you're a busy lady, especially now you got a family and all to take care of. But you do bring us some good things. People see you, and I do the cable show here, and I also do one for the city. And people will stop and say, "I seen you on TV," or you go out to a restaurant. "Hey, I seen you talking about smoke detectors." In the fire service, one thing that Chief Thomas Bolton, who was the first fire chief when I joined, told me one thing, and I never forgot it in my career or as a volunteer: if you know something, don't be afraid to show somebody else. And I've had people call me and say, I never did get a chance to tell you, but thank you for everything you did for me. I got promoted because of what direction you gave me. Or, hey, Justin, the guy who used to be here, went down on the county. He just one day called me out of the blue and said, "You know what, Kat? I never did get a chance to thank you. Now I'm retired, but I just want to say, hey, thanks for everything you did for me." And we touch a lot of lives upstairs with people. And we train a lot upstairs, and it's a good thing. It's a family environment here, and that's what we're trying to get. And we want to make it fun. But like Dan said, sometimes people go, "Well, if people are running out of burning buildings, why are you running in?" That's what we do. The four of us sitting right here, it takes a different breed of people to do this job. Like Dan said, you start from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. And over the years, one of the things that you just, as a volunteer, you just have to commit your time. The volunteer fire service will take care of everything else. They'll pay for all your training. You get all your protective gear. And like Dan said, at the end, you get what they call a little low SAP thing. And once you get 25 years and then you reach a certain age of 55, you get a little stipend at the end there, a little couple dollars a month. But it all pans out. And the biggest thing is what you get from doing this job. Like Maya said, you know, people call you at their worst time of need. And when you're there to help them, you can see the expressions on their face when, oh man, somebody showed up, somebody's taking care of my kids, somebody's helped my dad, or hey, they're going to put this fire out. And that means a lot to people. And that's what we get pride from. And if you want to be in the fire service, and even in the career fire service, like I said, I've been in the career fire service for 35 years. You're not going to get rich being a fireman, I can tell you that. But you get other satisfaction when you assist a mother with the delivery of a child, or you help an injured child, or you save an older person. You're given, you know, you got the compassion for this job. You just can't come in and be a volunteer. That's why we like for you to come in when we have recruitment, that we can show you around the fire station. We can show you the items that we have, that we use, get you in and maybe doing a ride along and see what kind of calls we run, because it takes a different breed of people to do this. You know, like I said, you see people at their worst times. And Dan is really big on the membership, and I think you have a chart or something you want us to show us about doing recruitment. Don't you do that so many often that the county does a thing that they advertise for weekends or something like that?
A poster.
Oh, you got a poster?
Yeah.
Can we see that so they can just look at it? And now for our safety tip for this month, Lieutenant Sheffield is going to talk a little bit about heat-related emergencies. So it's that time of the year, some precautions that you can take to protect yourself from the hot weather.
Thanks, Cap. I wanted to talk for a few minutes about heat-related illnesses, and there's a couple different categories. There's heat stroke, which is the most urgent, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, sunburn, and heat rash. And we'll start off with heat rash. Heat rash is, according to the CDC, it's red clusters of small blisters that look like pimples on the skin, usually on the neck, chest, groin, and elbow creases. And to treat that, stay in cool, dry places, keep the rash dry, and use powder like a baby powder to soothe the rash. Sunburn is painful, it's red, and it's warm to the skin. It can also cause blisters to the skin. And the recommendation on what to do with sunburn is to stay out of the sun until your sunburn heals. Put cool cloths on sunburned areas and take a cool bath. Put moisturizing lotion on sunburned areas and do not break the blisters. For heat cramps, heavy sweating during intense exercise, muscle pain, and muscle spasms. And to treat that, stop physical activity and move to a cool place. Drink water or a sports drink. And wait for the cramps to go away before you do more physical activity. Get medical help right away. If the cramps last longer than 1 hour, you're on a low sodium diet and you have heart problems. Heat exhaustion, heavy sweating, cool, pale, clammy skin, fast, weak pulse, nausea or vomiting, muscle cramps, tiredness or weakness, dizziness, headache, fainting, so if the person passes out. And what to do with heat exhaustion, move to a cool place. Loosen your clothes, put cool wet cloths on your body and take a cool bath. And sip water. And get medical help right away if you're throwing up, if your symptoms get worse, and if your symptoms last longer than 1 hour. And heat stroke is the most critical. It's a high body temperature, 103 degrees or higher, hot, red, dry, or damp skin, fast, strong pulse, headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion, and losing consciousness so the person passes out. Call 911 right away. A heat stroke is a medical emergency. Move the person to a cooler place. Help lower the person's temperature with cool cloths or a cool bath, and do not give the person anything to drink. In addition to high body temperatures, the symptoms of heat stroke include altered mental state of behavior, nausea and vomiting, flushed skin, rapid breathing, and rapid heart rate. Generally, with heat exhaustion, a patient is sweating a lot, whereas with heat stroke, they've stopped sweating and are actually dry. Call 911 right away. A heat stroke is a medical emergency. Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Dan, for that. And also, you know, we talk about our pets. Please do not leave your pets in the car with the windows up when you go into the store. If you have a dog that stays outside, just make sure they have plenty of water and they have shade that they can go to. You know, pets are like family members. You want to make sure you take care of them as well. Well, I'd like to thank everybody who came out today. Maya, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you coming out here. Because just being here today to do the show, there's probably a lot of women out there that are going like, you know, this is really great that we can see somebody that comes up. I know I'm very proud of you. Same thing with your husband. I've known your husband since he was a little guy. And that both of you are in the career service, and you all do a valuable job. And Dan, thank you. And I know you've always been an interesting person here. I've always enjoyed working with you. I had a lot of fun when you did do the cable show. We used to sometimes take us an hour to do a 15-minute show because we get to laugh and everything else. And Dan, I want to ask you a question. Lieutenant Dan.
Okay.
Just like Lieutenant Dan, this is your first year as an officer of the department. How's it been so far?
Thanks, Kat. It's been pretty exciting. I've worked with a variety of people that come up on Saturday nights, and we've done some training together. Talking with them, learning the different levels that they are, different levels that I am. I can always learn something new from someone else, and I believe I have a good share of knowledge that I can share with someone else. We run a few good calls. We haven't had any extreme calls yet, knock on wood, but we are prepared. We're having fun on Saturday nights. We're doing some training. We keep the house clean. We check the apparatus, and oftentimes we go out and get something to eat. And it's been a good time on Saturday night. And I think I'm enjoying being an officer here with Laurel Volunteer Fire Department and working with Chief Piercy and the other officers here. We're having a good time. Thanks so much.
All right. You heard it live from here from everybody. And again, I'll repeat what my buddy says. If I can do it, you can do it. All right. We'll see you the next time on the Laurel FireWatch. Thank you.